So I got a quick question for you. So like in a relationship, let's say you're finding out this person's playing mind games on you. Do you think there's any kind of communication that can happen between you and your partner? Do you think that you can talk to them about the mind games that they're playing? Or you think that, you know what, it's just done. You should probably cut cords, cut ties if there's mind games going on in a relationship.
Yeah, so why do you think people play mind games? More or less just, do you think that people play mind games for a specific reason? Or do you think it's more just something like a habit or a way that they've always gotten along, a way that they learned how to communicate? Is it for control? Is it for guys to get laid or girls to get paid? Like, what do you think mind games?
That's a good question.
What we think, Drew.
That's a real good question. I think, let me start off. I think it's just really, sometimes it's a lack of communication, a lack of skills to communicate. And I'll paint this picture. Okay. There was a female that I was dating at the time who told me she just wanted to just wish she could just be held and just lay next to a guy and have nothing happen, right? Everyone has that thing. They just want to be held. So what does she do? She gets naked and climbs up in bed next to me. Same conversation. What are you supposed to do in this case? She just told you 5 minutes ago, you want nothing to happen, but you're sitting there naked. What do you do?
You cuddle her.
To this day, I still don't understand what happened.
So what did you end up doing? Inquiring minds want to know. What did you end up doing?
I spent the whole night staring at the ceiling, not sleeping.
I'm always gonna do this night. Okay.
She communicated what she wanted, right?
Right. Okay. So you think it's a lack of communication. So what do you think? Why do you think people play mind games?
So I think Knight was on the right track as far as not knowing how to necessarily communicate. But I also think it's just a way of getting aroused, especially I think maybe more at the beginning of, hey, do I actually like this guy? Or hey, do I actually like this girl? Trying to kind of play that game to reel them in and see if they're going to play along with you.
Right.
So yes, a form of control. Yes. A form to get laid. Yeah. But it's just another way to communicate other than playing these mind games.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna add on to that. So I definitely think that there's a level of control because you can play mind games even in a play scene, and that is a level of control. It's to manipulate a person. And I think that really the reason why people do it is they have insecurities within that whatever game they're playing. If it's silent treatment or whatever it is, there's an insecurity that's not being communicated or dealt with. So they wrap a mind game around it to make it easier to deal with. That's personally what I've discovered with a lot of people playing mind games.
I think 90% of it might be like something to do with insecurities, but I think that there's still a lot more that's left to be said for people thinking that doing something a certain way is bound to get a more desirable result than playing the game the right way, in a matter of speaking. So I think it's more of sometimes it's more of fuck me. I feel like, sorry, I'm still getting down off of that cold. So it's like I got like this little bit of congestion in between the throat and the nasal cavity where trying to do certain syllables next to each other is just not fucking working. I think sometimes it also comes down to a matter of manipulation as well as insecurities.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I'll be honest, guys. I haven't been forthcoming. I like playing mind games, but here's why.
No fucking shit.
Let me explain.
I'm not forthcoming with something that's blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I'm going to be forthcoming with the fact that I like to play mind games. Well, at least it's communicating.
I've got three pairs of shades on. I like to play mind games.
They're not bad mind games. They're fun mind games. They're games where everybody can join in and be a bit witty and be a bit subtle, because I like being vague You know, I like being circumvent. So it's kind of like a give and take. You know, like tennis. I toss the ball to you, toss it back to me, and see how we do.
Yeah.
So are you the only one enjoying whenever you're, playing these mind games with someone else? Are you the only one enjoying that? Is your partner that you're, playing that tennis match with, do they enjoy it too?
No, they want to lay down and cuddle. And this motherfucker's breaking out a tennis racket.
They started it. In fact, that's an excellent point. All right, because I think men and women do this in two completely different ways. The playing field is not even. Men, I think, could be more direct, right? More, hey,
prize.
Maybe more
Prize.
transparent.
Prize. Men can be more direct. Did I hear that right?
Yes. Nice shoes, right? Women don't say that.
Men are like the key proprietor of ghosting. Are you kidding me? Men are especially in person dating.
No, bullshit. Men have just been doing it longer. Women found out how to perfect that.
Nope. We're gonna go to the tape on this one. You guys started even before the conversation begins. Hey, how's your day? Hey, response 0. Okay, that's check mark 1. Maybe after a relationship is developed, maybe a guy is more prone to ghost to get rid of the crazy chick. But from the start to that point, you guys have it. Prove me wrong.
Guys are playing mind games from the door. Let's take it to the dating. Let's take it to exchanging numbers. You find somebody in the mall or in the grocery store. You're like, hey, girl, yeah, you're direct. You come up, hey, I want your phone number. Okay, the phone number goes. How long does it take for a motherfucker to call someone or get, use the number? It's because they're playing a mind game.
Prizes.
Okay, well, I need to look like I'm busy.
Prizes. Nope. You're talking about even getting a phone number. It was not a man's idea to come up with a concept called the loser line, which is a fake number that women hand out to dudes just to get them out their face.
Mm-hmm. Or better yet, write the number and somehow miss a digit. How did that happen? Oh, call every number in the book until you get that right one. Good luck.
Well, what happened? What happened was during that conversation leading up to, hey, can I get your number? Was them playing a game or something, being stupid and just not acting right. Sure, I'll give you a number to get you out of my face.
Put your mouth, and you decide to play a mind game with me. So now my number is missing a digit.
Yeah.
It sounds like everybody is playing games 24/7. Is that the case? Is that what we're down to? Everyone's playing games all the time?
I would say so.
Yeah, I think in a huge, like if we're looking at society, yeah, all the time. That's what people do. We just play mind games. But there are those select few that come up and, are very direct. They're very direct from the door. They sit down at the first date and they're very direct. And a lot of times. So do you
think it's more so whenever they're dating or just starting that they play these games?
Happen in a relationship as well. But I mean, here's the deal. Oh God, I lost it. Never mind.
Well, is being direct also a mind game in itself? Is that kind of
okay,
a
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so you can have a girl that will be straight up direct, and you're sitting here saying that women aren't direct, right? That's what I heard you say, Knight. Women aren't direct. Okay, there are girls that will go on a date and lay out everything they're looking for down to a baby. I want to get married in a year. I need a baby in like 6 months. The house with the white picket fence. I don't want to work and I want you to pay my bills. There are women that come out there and say that shit and then they get labeled crazy or like a manhunter or, she's looking for, with the marriage and the lockdown and the guy. But she's being direct.
I could be direct too.
Yeah, I can be direct too. I'm trying to get laid. Like,
I have to say that. And here's the thing. In a dating situation, I respect that more than you sitting there trying to play a game to get into my panties. I already see the game you're playing, so just stop. Just say what it is.
So can games be fun? I mean, if the end goal is to either be in a relationship or get laid, does that mark it as fun?
Yes.
Only if it's successful.
Games.
Well, here's the thing. Mind games can be really fun, and everybody does it in an effort to get to know someone. I don't care what you say. Doesn't matter if it's girl, guy. In the beginning, we're playing mind games to get to know somebody. You don't know that person. Okay, so you're doing the things that you need to do to figure that out. Maybe that's your method. But it can be fun. I mean, like I said, in a play scene, there's a whole lot of mind games going on, especially if you're dealing with a brat. If you are dealing with a labeled brat, forget it. It's all mind games the entire freaking time. So yeah, see, brat. Okay, like all mind games.
Very much brat.
To be Knight's friend, you have to play mind games. Okay, seriously, just all the time, 24/7. But I mean, yes, it can be fun. It's the banter. You know what I'm saying? But when it goes into your relationship and you're not communicating, and let's say you've been in this relationship for even like, I don't know, 6 months, a year, but you're still playing mind games, then there's some manipulation that's happening. Then there's some things that could end up causing triggers for the other person, and issues. Because any kind of manipulation is going to cause issues on somebody else, There's a winner.
You're talking like it sounds like it's a bad thing.
Well, hold on. Talking about like breadcrumbing, catfish, and shit like that. Yeah, that's never fun, and the end goal always sucks. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think we're talking about very different mind games. Pursuing a relationship and the banter back and forth. I think that's just like relationship squabbles. That's playing the dozens with each other. That's get the standard getting to know you bit. But when you come to go for it,
Jesus. So, in a relationship, when somebody gives the silent treatment, you think that that's just normal or okay? Or I mean, is that okay to play something?
Well, the question was, is it ever okay to play mind games, and are they ever fun? Yeah. So, to answer the question, is it ever fun? It's like, depending on what kind of game you guys are playing. I mean, if you have an established relationship and that's the way you communicate, or that's how you guys vibe with each other, then okay, cool. But if it's not, then no, it's not going to be fun. Breadcrumbing, I don't think that could ever be fun because there's a malicious intent behind it. Catfishing is never fun. There's a malicious intent behind it. Yeah. Love bombing, there's a malicious intent behind it, or an ulterior motive.
So
there is. If there is a malicious, because sometimes somebody may do it without realizing it. Maybe they're insecure. Oh, this picture of me is better, even though I looked like that 10 years ago.
Yeah. Maybe
they didn't have it in their mind, but yes, definitely intent is important.
Okay, real quick. Deal breaker question. So, as far as being catfished, which is worse, or which is better, or which would you prefer? If you're starting to meet somebody, talk to somebody, you start an online relationship, and then you find out that it's their pictures, they're just from a time where they looked better.
Prizes. So that happened to me. This was back, and I'm gonna age myself a little bit, in MySpace days. And I'm not even talking about that scenario. This was me and my own fault, Mr. Kane Marcos. I'm not going to talk about, when you set me up for failure. So the other time, met this guy on MySpace, and he's very interesting. He's, according to him, just got out of the military recently. He's in the Marine Corps. He sent me a picture back and forth. We were texting and everything, and it was him. And I talked to him on the phone. We didn't do video calling back then, but so I met him up at a bar, hey, let's, we've been vibing and let's go have a drink, right? He shows up and he's about 50 pounds heavier than his picture. Now he was still, cute and everything, but I just kind of felt like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. And I'm not so shallow that turned me off. However, that's not what I was expecting. And I didn't end up seeing him again afterwards.
Well, and also I think that just kind of makes you feel awkward as far as like, oh, if you're willing to start off like on a lie or on a twisted truth, then like what else are you gonna do in this shit? I'm cool. I don't want to figure it out.
Well, see, I've had it happen to me too. She was waiting for dinner and I, Bumble, meet somebody. Okay, you're out. The pictures are cool, You're not a knockout. Anyways, from the door. But nice guy, talked to him for a while, messaged back and forth. He sent me the same kind of pictures. He shows up and he looks completely different. I'm talking like the saggy jowls and way bigger and the whole nine. And I'm like, ooh. And you could tell it was him, but it was like, how long ago was this taken? And you took them all like this,
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't so shallow to where I was like, oh hell no, I'm not, no, we're going there. Okay, let's sit down and talk. But I sat down and really was like, okay, so let's just have a conversation here. Who's that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did you use the because you don't look like, that's not you, right? I mean, that's you, but like, how long ago? And then the guy's like, well, I was just really insecure. I went to the hospital. I have a thyroid issue and blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, I get it. But I don't know how I start anything with you if you can white lie about this from the door before I ever even met you. Like, where's our trust level even sit? So, I mean, yeah.
Is a reverse catfish possible? Like if you use B-list photos and then show up looking hot, is that okay then?
Hey, quick question, Kane. Did you want to do a quick run through on how you catfished me in a roundabout way?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. No, I didn't. I feel like we've beat that horse to death twice. That poor fucker's in another life, just still getting his ass beat. Nah.
It's gonna be on his tombstone. Rip Tank.
I really have to hope that I don't go before Callista because I
was gonna say it.
Remember that news story I brought where that guy goes and pisses on his ex-wife's headstone and like she's been gone for like 20 years? That's gonna be Callista.
Oh, sweetheart, I'm writing your obituary.
Go for it. I won't mind.
Okay, so we kind of have an understanding, like, if it can be fun, right? Or if maybe in a relationship and the intent behind it, obviously, that's where your intention is where it makes it fun or not, what you're doing. But, I mean, if you are dealing with somebody that is playing mind games, and let's take this from a relationship standpoint, instead of like right from the door, how would you deal with somebody that's playing these kind of mind games within your relationship? And I'm gonna kick it to Kane because he's been about everything. So maybe he's gonna be like, throw her off the cliff.
No, honestly, I haven't had too many experiences as far as like being out in the dating world and trying to find, like that special somebody. I've had enough experiences to speak intelligibly for myself. As far as, like giving world-renowned advice, I don't know exactly what to say on the topic of mind games, except for the fact that if you stick around with it, that's your damn fault. I mean, if you understand that somebody's playing you, messing around, playing some stupid ass games, and you're still there in 2 months, then at that point, it's no longer that person's fault. It's you for being gullible enough to fall for it. I think one of the biggest lies that women tell themselves, and I hate to say it, and I'm gonna throw all of you guys under the bus, is that I can change them.
Yeah, no, that's.
I really hate to say it, but I mean, the odds of that happening. I don't want to say it's impossible, but the odds of it happening the way that you want it to are few and far between. So if you're in that kind of scenario, if you're in that kind of relationship, or if you're in something where those kind of games are being played, then sticking around is your fault. It's that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing. If you're not gone from jump or after you figure it out, then.
So I got a quick question for you. So like in a relationship, let's say you're finding out this person's playing mind games on you. Do you think there's any kind of communication that can happen between you and your partner? Do you think that you can talk to them about the mind games that they're playing? Or you think that, it's just done. You should probably cut cords, cut ties if there's mind games going on in a relationship.
For me, it's like, all right, I'll be the first one to say I'm really petty when it comes to being played. So if I find out that you're playing games, my first and foremost reaction is to beat you at your own game. At that point, the relationship is kind of over for me, and the only satisfaction or drive that I have in pursuing anything else is figuring out how to turn the tables so fast, so quick that you look foolish, feel dumb, and maybe don't do it ever again. So that is my ultimate
goal. Over shit.
Right. So like you play mind games to because you're done, you're just gonna play a mind game and.
No, I kind of
counter the mind game.
Yeah, I kind of play, like some counterintelligence where it's like, oh, okay, if like I see what you're doing, I see how you're how you're planning, how your mind works. All right, so let me go ahead and, do something where you're gonna, I know how you're gonna manipulate the situation, and let's see how you manipulate it into looking as foolish as possible in front of as many people as possible, and then feeling stupid about it afterwards. And then it's just like, oh yeah, I knew. And at that point, that person isn't gonna sit there and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry. Now do you want to communicate? Like, no, that ship sailed, we're done. This was it. I don't want to do the whole extravagant, public breakup thing. But at that point, like, if you don't know that it's done, then I'll tell you later.
So, Calista, do you think that, how would you deal with somebody that's playing a mind game within your relationship?
So I tend to be a little bit more confrontational. I'll have that difficult discussion. Not that y'all can't tell already. But I'm not afraid to have that difficult conversation with someone if I can recognize it, if games are being played. And then I'll go from there. I'll plan accordingly. If I'm having that conversation with them and he doesn't change, then, hey, I'm fucking with you right back. Or I'm done. I'm pretty much done. But for me, I'm in their face about it. Not necessarily being argumentative, but hey, let's sit down and have a grown discussion.
Right. Okay. Well, that was nice. Got some faces to make it over here. Well, what we think?
I say, unequivocally, it depends. Here's why. It was one of three scenarios. You recognize what's happening and you like it. You recognize what's happening and you don't like it, or you don't know what's happening at all and you're getting manipulated.
Right.
So let's take Angelina Jolie, for example. She and I are in a relationship. We're at a party. She's doing her thing and she dances with another dude. And she's looking at me over this dude's shoulder as she's dancing. She's being all sexy. She's looking dead in my eyes. Now, what is she doing? I could choose to be upset about that, or I could find that hot and be like, yeah, okay, I see you over there. Right? So again, it depends. She's obviously playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I don't like it, I could come to her later and say, listen, don't do that. She'll be like, do what? I was just dancing, right? And then you have a problem, right? So like, look, I know what you're doing. You wanna put the fire into my butt a little bit. I don't like that. We don't need to do that. Let's just be cool. And then, if she wants to continue playing games, then you bring out the whip. Regardless, you need to communicate.
Make sure that you both are consenting with what's coming out. Okay.
What the
Love these long, drawn out, very delusions of grandeur stories that Knight tells.
What? Hey, Joe, I never got the whip
with him today. He's just on something else today.
I think he's right. He was on a fetish and a kink track. The kink of the month is mind games. That's a whole mind game and other stuff. A mind fuck you with Angelina.
She's playing games with me every time I watch one of her films.
I think this is his favorite month. Yeah. I think this is all about night.
This month, don't be interested. Sit back and enjoy the ride. But really, do you ever think that it's okay to play mind games? And I actually have, just real quick, because we kind of touched on it within a relationship, but like at the beginning, if you saw somebody and you could recognize that they're breadcrumbing or they're, love bombing you, right? Everything you like, they like too. Are you addressing it in the beginning? Let's say you're dating, you guys are on, date number 3 or something, texting every night. That beginning love, but you know that this is a little off. Are you confronting it or are you walking away? Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so I think it depends on the scenario, especially with like breadcrumbing and love bombing.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it in movies. It's never happened to me. So I mean, like I'll play that forlorn lover, where I've never been like the hottest person in the room, where anybody's just like, oh my gosh, I just have to talk to that guy. How do I get him to notice me? And when I do start talking to him, I'm just going to agree with everything that he says because I want him to take an interest in me. And it's not to say that that person isn't interesting in and of their own right, but they just don't know how to communicate. They get that butterfly, or they get all love struck and dumb, or it's like, oh, I don't know what to say. Did I say I like eating meat? I'm a vegetarian. But he said, you know, like, oh, I like a good steak. And I was just like, me too. Now we're at a steakhouse. Fuck. You know, I've never had that situation or scenario, but I know like stuff like that happens. So, I mean, like, is it flattering or is it, do you take it as flattering if it's, you know, can be taken flatteringly? Or is it always a manipulation? Are you always going to be upset? I think it just really comes down to what that person's intent is. If there's a malicious intent behind it, then, oh yeah, guard goes up, you know, deal with it accordingly. But I mean, like if it's, they didn't know what to do, like they were nervous, you know, it's kind of cute.
All right, so that kind of answers if it's ever okay for you also. So Ms. Calista, what do you think?
So I definitely agree with Kane where it can be situational, depending on what it is. Now, if it's in a negative intent and they're being malicious and everything about it, yeah, especially with it being like the third date or anything, I'm walking away. I haven't invested that much time. We aren't in a necessarily a relationship. We're just kind of starting out, getting to know each other. I'm walking away. I'm not going to play those games, and we're not going to go there. But would you guys,
real quick, walking away, are you ghosting them or are you saying, yo, we're done? You're communicating?
Well, it depends on what kind of game that he was playing. I'll tell him, like, I had a situation where I'm like, all right, you know, no more. I'm done. Just stop. Mm. But I've also ghosted someone too.
Right. Okay. Okay, I see you.
I know, I see him too.
Interesting little thought process here, though, because so you said like by the third date you haven't invested that much time.
Yeah.
So I know for a lot of, and Aurora brought up, you know, are you ghosting or are you cutting ties? You know, like how are you dealing with this? And the way that you had said, you know, like, oh, I haven't invested too much into it. So a lot of people by the third date, I mean, they know where that person lives and they've probably slept together by the third date. So how do you ghost or, yeah, I know you guys are like, what the, I know a bunch of chicks who are fucking on the first date just to see if it's like, oh, we're fucking to see if we can date. Now it's like, how long are we dating until we fuck? No, it's like, how long are we fucking until we're like, oh, you know what? You know, I guess you can come over Thanksgiving. I mean, we've been doing this for a little bit, so. But for a lot of women out there, by the third date, I mean, they either know where they live or, you know, have slept together, or there's a lot of personal information or a lot of background already being shared to the point where it's like, if you're ghosting, is it really ghosting if that fucker can show up at your place if you're not answering your phone?
Well, who says I have to answer the door?
Right. Okay, this is why nobody gets my address on the third date. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know what women you've been dealing with. Shit,
right?
Like, it sounds like you got yourself a good little roster going.
See, if you don't answer the door, then we have to start knocking on the window.
Right. You might not hear us. You know, you might be indisposed. You might be laying on the backyard. So let's just jump the fence and go see if you're like in the backyard.
Right. Maybe you're in the backyard. Gotta hop the fence. You know. Maybe you're in the
shower. The front door was locked. I'm already in the backyard, and the back door's open. So it's just like, hey, you weren't answering. What's up?
We got stalkers on the show. Great to know. Okay,
oh god, there's like 4 dudes watching right now. Like, yeah. Your address.
Not condone this behavior. Yes. No, none of that.
But how would you
is it okay? Is it okay to play mind games? Yes. Here's why. It's sales. You are selling yourself. And in sales in corporate America, they make you read a book, How to Make Friends and Influence People. That entire thing is about playing mind games. In one way, shape, form, or another. Since everybody's doing it, and we're all doing it in varying degrees, right? Just you pick the good mind games, not the bad ones.
Yeah.
Pick the good mind games. And you should be okay. You should keep things spicy. I think it's okay.
Yeah. Quick question to that is, would you guys consider flirting being a mind game?
Yeah, I honestly think that there is so many mind games that go on with flirting. That's that banter that I'm talking about. That's that back and forth. That's that pull and push just to see, you know, for guys just to see how far you will go if they haven't gotten the cookie yet. How quick can I get you to talk about a cookie? You know, like
I like cookies. You know, I like cookies.
To be honest, I'd be more curious what a direct conversation sounds like between an interested party nowadays. You know, I feel like everything is just a mind game. So like what what was the original conversation like? How did the original, outline go? I bet you it sounds more like lawyers. Just
No, it'd be like, you like the smell of my apple?
No, but I mean, if it was a very direct and not non-flirty, no mind games, I think it would kind of sound like a negotiation table before you step into a placing. Okay, so you want me to put my hand is okay here, yes? And you like it strong. You want it strong like okay, all right, sure. All right, so but you don't want me to take you by surprise and come from the side, right? Okay, so none of that. And you don't like spankings. Okay, not spankings. That's go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what a conversation would look. And then that takes all the spontaneity out of it, all the fun.
It's boring.
And it's boring. Yeah, like, I know we preach communication on the show all the time, but I don't advise you walking into a dating situation where you're and just trying to be straight up direct and being like, okay, so this is what I like.
Yeah, like, listen, we're going to go out for a few dates and I'm going to really pay a lot of attention to you. Might buy you a few drinks. Flowers the first week. After that, we're going to be doing it. I'm going to try really hard the first time, and then maybe a few other times after that, I may or may not fall asleep. That cool with you? Because if you're cool, I'm cool.
No,
not buying
that.
No.
That's not fair.
No.
I thought you liked honesty.
Fucking
women these days.
Well, and that's exactly what I was saying about women when they come to you and say, I want a baby in like 2 months and I'm going to get married by next year. You going to be my husband. We going to the Cayman Islands. I want women to do this. You know what I'm saying? We'll just spew out their entire life plan and you on board because I did it.
All right. So just to wrap this up, and because we're already pushing for time, I wanted to close with I never really thought that women like that existed, where, like the lay out the life plan on the first date kind of thing, until I met somebody. She was a coworker, and that was how she started conversations. She was well into her mid-30s, and she was talking about how she was going on some of the dating sites and apps and everything, and just trying to find Mr. Right, and not necessarily the right guy, just right now guy. And she couldn't fathom for the life of her that all of these guys seem to be really with it and interested. And it's like, well, yeah, because you just admitted that you kind of on a clock and are willing to, get it in sooner rather than later. I mean, you negated the I don't have to buy you a couple drinks. I don't have to make you interested in me. You seem to be, I have to now be convinced that you're not fucking psychopathic, throwing all this information at me. So I never really understood that was like conversations or anything. Like, I always thought it was just something that was like comedic relief in a lot of those slapstick comedy movies. No, that shit actually happens.
That's real. It's so
That's
real.
For real.
And on the other extreme of that, it's just like the girl at the bar that'll go into the bathroom with the dude and come out real quick and then come out and be like, well, why isn't he buying me drinks?
Yeah.
Because he's done.
So, it's the same thing,
All right. So that's it for our show for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of information, and maybe you guys were able to see that you were in a mind game type of relationship or situation. Always be on the lookout. Yep. Enjoy that. All right. We'll catch you guys later. That's it for us tonight. Fuck me. All right. We're going to try that again.
And on that note,
that's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you guys later. Always remember your safe word. Good night, y'all.